we have identified approximately 10 subjects that were involved in the murder. 8 of those subjects we have been able to positively identify.
Jason Johnathan, the homicide lieutenant for the department, says those 8 suspects have been arrested and all have been booked into the Clark County Juvenile Hall on charges of murder. He says their ages range from 13 to 17, and the agency is working with the district attorney's office to charge them as adults. But their work is far from over.
We will be pushing out additional pictures of 2 individuals that we have yet to identify.
The lieutenant says several agencies, including the FBI's Criminal Apprehension Team, are working together to determine who the other 2 people are. During the investigation, Johnathan says the department found the group of teens agreed to fight in the alley after school over a pair of wireless headphones and vape pen that were stolen from either Lewis or his friends. That's when the fight happened, leaving Lewis fighting for his life.
After the fight occurred, he was laying unconscious and unresponsive in the back alley, and a citizen nearby saw him, began attending to him, and carried him back to Rancho High School.
Less than a week later, he says Lewis was declared brain dead. On November 13th, an autopsy determined his cause of death as homicide by blunt force trauma. Johnathan says the 17-year-old's organs were donated.
If you or your child...
Oh, we got to talk about this. We definitely got to talk about this. And this case is tragic, man. This whole situation is tragic. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. You know, we had someone who lost their life behind something that was just unnecessary. The barbaric behavior of a group of kids against another kid. It's sad, but this is America. And you guys, you know what also is a problem? Is that this country is so fragile when it comes to race. And literally, you know, we keep seeing these things time and time again. But then this particular video, we're going to talk about the hypocrisy. We're going to talk about the double standard, right? We're going to talk about a couple of things and why a lot of people have an issue with this particular situation. If you're not familiar, I'm not surprised if you're not, because the media is refusing to really give it the coverage that they would normally give it if the victim was African American. That's a fact. So let's talk about it. Let me give you the background of this situation. This particular incident happened out of Nevada, just November 1st, I believe, and this was involving some high school kids. So basically what ended up happening is that a group of kids, predominantly black kids, I think it was about 15 of them, I believe there was like 2 or 3 maybe Hispanic kids in the group, and they looked like a gang just based off of what they're wearing, you know, all wearing black and things like that. They end up jumping and assaulting a white student, and ultimately the injuries that he succumbed to during that assault cost him his life. All right, cost him his life. All right, so let me give you the backstory in reference to this case. All right, so this all initially started from a theft. Okay, so we're going to talk about victim 1. Victim 1 is a white student. We don't know his age. We don't know his name at this time. Possibly he's more likely a juvenile. So victim 1 was a victim of a theft. Apparently his AirPods or his vape pen was stolen by a suspect that he knows, okay? So when victim 1 encountered the suspect, apparently they had some type of conversation about how they're going to settle this incident of the theft. They decided that they were going to fight it out. All right, this is very, very common amongst school kids, you guys. Things happen, they get into an altercation, they decide to fight it out. Well, they decided to do it after school, off of school grounds. They decided to meet up almost a block away from the school, behind a building in an alley. Okay, so they all decided and agreed upon fighting one-on-one. Well, a lot of times, you guys, when these students get to fighting, a lot of other people know about it, and the crowd follows them because they want to see the action. Ultimately, they just want to record and post the videos, and they did that, right? This image right here is a scene, or it's a screenshot from the actual video. I'm not going to play the video on the channel. If you want to see the video, just Google it, all right? So they decide to get to fighting. Victim 1, it looks like, threw the first punch at the suspect. The moment he threw the punch, and I don't even think he connected, the suspect's entire group, which looked like about 15 boys, predominantly black, and I believe there was 2 or 3, looked like they might have been Hispanic, all started attacking victim 1. Victim 1 is losing the fight. Well, victim 2, we do know his name is Johnathan Lewis. He's 17 years old. Apparently, he is friends or he knows victim 1. Victim 2 is also white. Victim 2 decides to assist victim 1 because he was getting beat up. Well, unfortunately, as he's trying to engage this crowd, of course, the entire group turns their attention on victim 2, Johnathan Lewis, and they beat him down to the ground. They beat him so bad, they were stumping his head, kicking his face, stumping his body. He was laying lifeless on the ground. Beat him so bad. Now, while this assault is taking place, you had other people who are outside the group recording it. I think there's about 3 or 4 people, 4 or 5 people recording the actual assault. All right. So after the fight was done and over with, a passerby or a witness decided to help the victim, Johnathan Lewis, off the ground. They contacted the school. The school was able to call the police, get the police involved. Ambulance showed up, took him to the hospital. I believe he was unconscious. He was in critical condition. And then I believe maybe 5-6 days later, Johnathan ended up passing away from his injuries. So I believe he was on life support. Or he was brain dead, and they ended up eventually pulling the plug on him. Now, what we do know is they are looking at 10 people who actually were involved in the assault, and they are going to charge them with murder. Well, just recently, as of today, they were able to locate and arrest 8 of the suspects involved in the assault, which is good. They are all being charged with murder. And to make matters worse, you guys, these kids from the ages of like 13 and 17. A lot to unpack there. Well, the next thing now is people are saying, hold on, these kids need to be charged with a hate crime. Why? Because all I see is a bunch of black kids and 2 or 3 others who literally beat this white kid to death, and they're saying this is racially motivated. Now, people are saying hate crime. I get it. And I believe if the evidence will support that, then absolutely charge them with everything they need to be charged with, right? What they did was wicked. What they did was evil, period. So is there enough for hate crime? I don't know. I don't know what the evidence is. The video alone is not going to be enough to suggest that this is a hate crime. But I do understand people's frustration, because if the roles were reversed and the kid was black, the victim was black, and the 15 suspects were white, you guys, guess what? They're burning the city down, right? They're marching. You got Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, the damn color justice warriors. They're all showing up, and they're causing a riot. Absolutely, right? We know that to be true. So this emotional response from the left-wing media is so profound when the victim is black. And sometimes you only need one white suspect. It's not necessarily that you need 15. But the first thing they would say is this is a lynching of a black man. A lynching, right? So there's always this knee-jerk response from the media. And the media would plaster this all across the nation. And they would be screaming that this is racially motivated. So I understand, right? So now people are like, hold on now. We got a bunch of black kids who lynched this white kid in the streets. This is a lynching, right? Technically. So I get it. There is a deep-seated, toxic, and unhealthy anger that some black and white people have towards each other. And when they come in contact, you guys, because of maybe a simple disagreement or some argument or anything, you see that animosity, that hatred for whatever reason, manifests itself. It's a sickness in this country. It's a disease in this country. And black people aren't the only ones that have it. White people have it too, and you see these things play out in altercations like this, right? In altercations like this. They beat this man to death. It's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. And they're going to be charged with murder. This goes without saying that this was a very tragic, very unfortunate, very senseless act carried out by a bunch of clowns. So what's going to happen to these suspects? There's 10 of them, according to the investigators, and 8 of them have already been picked up and arrested. They're being charged with murder. Well, unfortunately, I think they're done. I think they're out of here. They're going to be looking at about a smooth 25 years behind this, especially if they prove that this is a gang. I have a feeling it's a gang, just based off their behavior, based off of what they're wearing. I'm pretty sure they're going to figure out that this is probably a gang. What's also worse is that these juveniles are between the ages of 13 and 17. And you're looking at 20 years. They're going to spend their whole life behind bars, charged as an adult, as they should. And a lot of people have an issue with that. But guess what, you guys? At the end of the day, if you make them choices, I don't really care how old you are. Send you away. You obviously don't know how to act in society. Bless your heart. I blame the parents. Unfortunately, what's also sad? My experience arresting juveniles, especially those who commit high deviant behaviors and felonies, 99% of the time, there's no father present at home. They come from very dysfunctional and broken homes, and it's sad. Some could argue that it's really not their fault. No, but it's their responsibility, because at the end of the day, they know right from wrong. And so I don't feel sorry for them, and it's sad because now their actions have taken the life of someone else. And to the parents, you need to be talking to your kids about not following behind the actions of others. And what I saw in that video, for those who haven't seen the video, if you can stomach it, check it out, and look at the behavior of those boys, and it's just sad. It's sad. It's sick. But again, this is not uncommon. This is a big problem in this country. Gangs, a lot of boys, a lot of juveniles who they respect no authority. They don't respect their parents. And they're just out here running the streets, causing havoc. They're a menace to society, and they come in all colors, all shapes, and all sizes. And, they're a product of some dysfunctional households. But guess what? If you can't cut it in society, you get removed. And like I always say, if you can't raise them, we'll cage them. And that's exactly what you see in here. So prayers out to the family. Very, very tragic situation. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Is this a hate crime? Is this a hate crime? Should it be considered a hate crime? What are your thoughts? Or is the media just playing this double standard? It doesn't fit the narrative. That's why no one's really talking about it. It's very sad at the end of the day. Regardless, it's news, and news should be covered appropriately. And it shouldn't just be dependent on whether or not this crime fits this particular racial group, and so forth and so on. So anyways, that's it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Good night. God bless.